This is Philly Drone Tech with Tom Brunt. Thank you to our sponsors, Wistia.com, Zoho Mail, and GetFlywheel.com.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Philly Drone Tech here on the PhillyTech.org Netcast Network. I'm Tom Brunt. Well, I got delayed a little bit again in getting a new episode out for you. As I reported last month, being the broadcast technician, it was a pretty busy month. I started doing the Masters Golf and then went right into NHL playoffs. Continuing that trend was NHL playoffs. If you were a hockey fan and were enjoying the Detroit-Tampa Bay series and then round two, Montreal-Tampa Bay series, well, that's where I was. So now that I'm all done doing that, I'm able to get out another episode for you. So, as I always do, let's get started when I talk about the latest news from the FAA. Well, they're kind of moving fast and furious now with tweaking rule set and allowing a little bit more. It's baby steps. But while we're waiting for the notice of proposed rulemaking, the NPRM to take place, which could still be a couple years, maybe a year or two. Well, there's a lot of stopgaps that they're kind of trying to fill in kind of allowing things to happen, but kind of, I guess, at a slow and steady pace as opposed to all at once. In one day, they released a couple of things. One of them is that they are now going to allow testing of what's called BVLOS technology, beyond visual line of sight. This will be big news, as I'm sure maybe they heard a lot of in the public comments section. And one of the things I brought up was being able to operate not in full line of sight. Currently, they only allow a human operator who can visually keep focus with the drone in the air. No outside of that. That will, that makes it pretty tough for things like search and rescue, or even like crop inspection, power line inspection, tower inspection, things of that nature. And plus, as I've talked about, the technology is moving at such a fast rate that the next generation of drones will probably be able to be more self-aware and self-avoid obstacles. In other words, like even if you as an operator screw up on the controls, it won't crash land into things. It'll know to avoid buildings, trees, people, all objects, all that stuff. But this is a good step forward. It shows that the FAA is they're going to consider this for the final rule set. Non-visual line of sight. That could be very good news here. Let's see here, as it says here, it's going to be helpful for people like Amazon that's working on their drone delivery system. Let's see, Boeing, Airbus, Lockheed Martin. Natural gas pipeline and agricultural industries. Again, that's for like inspection. It's really kind of defeats the purpose if you have to be in visual contact of the drone in order to use it for visual inspection. That's sort of the point. It's able to reach where you can't. And well, that could be very good news moving forward. On the same day, or around the same day, the FAA also released a little loosening of the restrictions for journalism, but in a little bit of a strange way. Now, news agencies and news stations will. Previously, there was a ban on even broadcasting footage that was acquired by a drone, whether it's a hobbyist or a professional. Certainly professional with no commercial, with the ban on commercial use, no. But even stations were discouraged from even airing amateur footage from a drone. Well, that restriction has been loosened. Basically, what it says here is that citizen journalists, aka hobbyists, amateurs, can submit and sell That's interesting. Drone acquired news footage, 2 stations. However, the professional market is still banned from doing this. The stations themselves cannot have photographers do it. It's kind of it's very backwards, actually. I sort of see where they're trying to come from. They don't want like a free-for-all out there with the drones, and in fact, for the hobbyist one, even. I think the rule is specific to, say you have a drone flying over your neighborhood and you spot a fire. Well, while you're up there, you can shoot footage of that fire. But I think how it's going to be interpreted is you're going to start to see a lot of citizen journalists grabbing their drones and running to like news stories to photograph it. This will bring up more of a safety problem than what they are worried about with allowing professionals to do it, because professionals know how to cover a news story without getting in the way. Amateurs probably do not, and I think you're going to start to see. It's not going to surprise me if the FAA kind of backs off on this a little bit, because I think they're going to find that they're kind of opening up floodgates in a way they're not intending. I see a lot of amateur journalists going out there and kind of being a little reckless in capturing footage and possibly, like, say, getting in the way of EMTs, which, again, a professional would, in theory anyway, a professional would know how not to get involved in the scene. My thoughts on it were, while they don't want to just allow everybody to do it, what they should do is, I think they ought to have a trial, a couple trial markets. Pick some small, more maybe rural areas, and then you can let a couple select stations, kind of like what they're doing with CNN. They've partnered with CNN, and that's on a global stage, to use drones for news gathering. Covering news at the local level is a little bit different from the national level. So it might be a good thing for them to, say, allow that with, like I said, a couple select stations in rural markets and test the waters. The FAA needs to kind of learn from us as much as we have to abide by their rules. They can't come up with rules until they kind of know how people are, using these things. So we'll see what happens with that. I really think that's going to end up being kind of short-lived. That's that story. Well, my final update with the FAA. Also, like I told you, they were busy, doing some things, and this shows. This is the third story that happened around the same time as the other two I just mentioned. And also, this has a private sector element in it as well. The FAA is developing, let me see here, it's called Before You Fly. It is going to be an app for, right now it's only Apple, iOS, but Android will be coming. It's a simple, easy-to-use smartphone app that will let users access what is what are the no-fly zones around the area right where they are. That's sorely needed, and that's great. So say, like, if I'm in an area near a stadium, and a stadium is a temporary no-fly zone when they have events, well, that will be shown on this app. Right now, it's in beta test, and they're hoping to get it out to about at least 1,000 beta testers over this summer, and then you could expect it to be released soon after that. I would personally love to get to be a beta tester for this app. I'd really like to kind of put it through its paces and see how it works. It will show you, permanent and temporary no-fly zone restrictions. That's important too, and that's going to be a good step if they can convince the consumers to use it. Again, the professionals already are going to be aware of this kind of stuff, but now it makes it a lot easier too. It's even like for myself, I have trouble finding access in my little area as far as where exactly are the no-fly zones in my area. Well, this app will help me with that. And it's kind of coincidence that it's kind of happening at the same time, but there's a private sector company that's working on the same thing. And that is also in a beta test stage right now. It's called AirMap. It's a Sky Atlas for drone users, as they call it. And it comes to you from the same people that handle the no-fly zone web registry that I talked about in a previous episode, where you can set up like a geofence for your property to not allow drones to fly over. Those people are the same ones that are behind this AirMap utility, and it's already set to work with Android as well as Apple iOS. Again, it's going to be a user interface, probably using the same data that the FAA has. And it's free right now. And again, in beta test only. I think you can sign up on their website, and you can look at my Medium account, and I'll give you the links to both those, and we'll see how that flies. It should be some great info to have at your disposal, especially the temporary ones. That's the most important one, that you will be able to know what the temporary no-fly restrictions are. That'll be very good. So that's all the news I have with the FAA, and right now I'm going to take my usual promo sponsor break. And when I come back, I'm going to talk about a couple things. I'm going to show you some drone footage of the Nepal earthquake, and I'm going to talk about this revolutionary, it could be a game changer drone called the Lily drone, that just over the last couple of days is starting to gain a lot of traction and a lot of attention from us drone users. And I'll also talk to you about my own little story that I have with being contacted by the FAA. Yes, yours truly got contacted by the FAA. So I will tell you about that story and the other ones when I get back. So I'll see you in a second. Today's show is sponsored by Wistia. Wistia is a video hosting and analytics platform that helps businesses get the most out of online video. We use Wistia here at PhillyTech.org. Flywheel, a managed WordPress hosting platform built specifically for designers and creative agencies, and helps thousands of designers across the world launch projects every day. And by Soho Mail, professional, low-cost email with business-class features and security. Well, welcome back. Well, we all know about the devastation of the earthquakes going on in Nepal. What's been kind of going around the internet a lot is that there's this spectacular drone photography of some of the damage left from the earthquake on a small part of the city. Here you can see some of it here. This kind of drives home the fact of how useful drones can be in these kind of disaster areas. They can show you things and get things that are too hard or too dangerous even by helicopter. You can't fly a helicopter as low as this is to be able to see some of the devastation. I've mentioned before how State Farm is working, they have an FAA exemption, and working on using drones for disaster areas. Let's say if there's like a hurricane or some natural disaster in the United States, to do building inspections. Because again, it's too dangerous to send somebody up there on top of the building, but you can just simply fly a drone and look at the damage that way. So there's as you see, here's some of the footage from Nepal. Okay, my next little feature I have for you is about a new drone. I just started hearing about this just a few days ago, and it could be a game changer. It's called Lily. And one of the things I like about it is it already comes with its own face and name, so that'd be right at home with my drone family. It's supposed to be released first quarter of next year, 2016, and it's as they call it, the world's first throw and shoot camera. That's right. You you throw it in the air, it unfolds, and then starts flying in front of you. You could use it to track shots around you. You have to have a little tracker band that you can wear on your wrist so that it can actually say follow you if you're kayaking or doing any kind of extreme sport. It will actually automatically follow you. This looks pretty fantastic. It has, although it doesn't look like it has one, it does say that it has a camera gimbal built in, and it will retail for about $1,000. It looks like, based on the size, it's a little bigger than like my SEMAs. It's somewhere between the size of the SEMA and maybe like just a couple inches like bigger. So you can kind of see, by somebody holding it in their hand there, how small it is. But it's, I mean, the world of like autonomous drones is just about here, folks. And this could be like the first of the big game changers in drone technology for consumer use. Like I said, it's going to be released early next year for about $1,000, but it looks like you can pre-order it for about $499. And well, yours truly, I'm chomping at the bit. I think that's going to be the next member of my drone family. All I have to do is wait about 7 or 8 months for them to finish building it. Okay, so I have one more story here to tell you, and it's kind of been on a personal level. As you know, what I've used my drone for, I use it for a lot of photography, and I kind of see the art form of doing drone videos. And being like it's still at the hobbyist level, I've been kind of like shooting some of my own projects and kind of doing community projects with it, stuff that would support my whole community. Doing like aerials of events, or just for different projects. One of the projects I did was going to be a nonprofit opening of a film festival, and somebody had the idea, wanted to see a drone shot overhead of my town, Doylestown. So I did that. And unfortunately, and this is something that I guess a lot of people with drones will eventually run into if you haven't already. Some people just really don't like them. I had one guy that basically was not very happy that I flew it. He said it was he said it violated the FAA, and he had a lot of ideas about what the FAA was going to do. Threatened to report me and all that and gather evidence. Well, fast forward a couple months later, and I get a phone call from an agent at my regional FAA office. So I'm chomping at the bit a little bit, and I give them a call back. And here's actually some of the footage that I believe is what they saw. And I'm happy to report that they told me they didn't really have a problem with any of it. So I'm very happy about that. But not only did they not have a problem with it, it was kind of interesting how the whole conversation went on. We then proceeded to just it was myself and 2 agents on the phone, just proceed to have this nice casual back and forth conversation about the new rules, new technology coming out. They were asking me things like, they asked me questions about like the Phantom, like if it has the geofencing software in it, for example. And we ended up having a pretty cool little conversation. I told them about my podcast that I work on, and I'd love to be able to like use them as a reference maybe in the future. So it turns out it ended up being kind of nice for me. It's kind of great because I do plan, once the rules come out, I do plan on taking this pretty seriously. I might consider it as like, I work in broadcasting. And I told them one of the things I'm interested in is seeing how sports broadcasters use the technology in the next couple of years. So that's I'm very interested and intrigued in how that's going to happen. So we left it with, if I have any questions or anything at all, feel free to give them a call. I have them in my address book. And in fact, I might actually be doing it soon, because remember how in my last segment I talked about the Before You Fly app that the FAA is going to be releasing to beta testers. I would love to be a beta tester for the app. I think with all the travels I do, I could, even though I don't like bring my drone with me to fly, I only fly it in the local area when I'm home, but it would be great to see, as I travel around the country, to different areas like things like sports stadiums and arenas that have temporary no-fly zones, see how the software holds up, how it works. So anyway, that's my story there. So I guess it's, in a way, it's sort of almost, I guess, like a badge of honor, but I'm happy to say that I've started a good dialogue with them, and as long as I continue that, should be good. The only thing they had to tell me, and again, it also kind of hit home with me and them too, about how vague the rule set is right now, is they just said, be mindful over people. That's it. That's not very specific. And that's part of the problem with the rules right now, is that it's not specific. And that's what's kind of being worked out. And, they're learning from us, the operators, as much as we have to learn of what, it's kind of a give and take here. How far can we push it? And then the FAA is also learning how we want to use it and do things. So anyway, that's my story to end the show. So hope you enjoyed it. And again, as always, you can contact me at you see my Twitter account there at DroneGuyTom, or you can send me an email at droneguy@tebweb.com. And as always, I have a link up there to what's called my Medium site there, that everything I talk about in this and all the podcasts, you can go to the medium.com/@DroneGuyTom to find direct links to everything I talk about, including like the new FAA app, Lily, and anything else that I talk about. So there you have it. And one more thing is that I always like to say is that since I'm part of a new startup network here, we could use your support to as I call, keep the server fans oiled and running. So there's a link to your screen there, and there's a link, also a link on the Medium site there. If you like what you see out of these podcasts and other programs that are on the PhillyTech.org network, we appreciate your support. So thank you very much, and hopefully I plan on getting a show back onto a regular schedule again before my next work adventure. So see you next time.